Knows Best.
Hi, friends, and welcome back to Brenna Knows Best. I'm your host, Brenna Berg. Hi, how are you guys? Happy Friday. I already know that I am going to fudge a ton of words. I'm running on 2 nights of no sleep, and I was just thinking to myself before I started this podcast, do I complain a lot? Do you guys think that I complain a lot? Do I just get on this podcast every single Friday and complain about the things that's happening? Because I hate people who complain, but then I was thinking about it. I feel like that's all I've been doing, but not in like a super negative way. How do you complain and it's not negative, Brenna? Anywho, I have not slept. The townhome situation has taken a turn. May Dog has also been waking me up at 4:15. What is that about? And then I go and get her because she's crying at the door. And then guess who goes back to sleep? And then I'm awake because I do naturally get up at like 5 or 5:30, but like 4:15 is fucking crazy, especially when I haven't been getting good sleep. Let me get you up on what has happened, y'all. I have actually never been this stressed, but I'm trying to not be stressed. And I think it's working. I think it might not be working. Let's back it up. The first townhome. Obviously, I caught you up last week. Was that when we were in Montana that we learned that the very first townhome, and I would really love to talk numbers with you guys and talk about the price, but it's also like, honestly, I'm coming to terms with how much we're going to be paying in rent just in general. And therefore, it's like sickening for me to talk about. And I also just like, I don't know. I don't want any unnecessary hate because of the rent prices and what we're about to pay. But let me start from the actual top. And I imagine I brought this up in the pod a long time ago. I had that lunch with Colleen Rothschild, the marketing girlies. That was amazing, back in May. And right after I left that lunch, I went and toured some townhomes. And this was like May 13th. So I don't even think we had gotten our notice yet. Wait, May, June, July. No. Or we had just gotten it, but we still didn't need to turn it in. It was like in the very early stages. I hadn't been working with the realtor yet, but I found these townhomes and I'm like, oh my gosh, they're like nothing else. I wanted to go check them out. There was a price online that I definitely was not going to pay per month. However, I didn't know if there were different floor plans or what. And I don't remember how much I dove into this at the time, but basically these townhomes, they're all the exact same. They're the same exact floor plan. They are like 2,200 square feet, 2,000 plus. I don't know exactly. They have 3 full bedrooms, so a master or a primary, and then 2 bedrooms on the top floor. They have 2 bathrooms, one obviously with the primary and then one for the other 2. There's a washer and dryer room as well. On the ground floor, it's a 2-car garage, the kitchen, the living, and then there's a big yard and it's turfed, or what I consider big. And again, when you're listening to this, you're like, bitch, that's incredible. But the price is criminal. Right? Criminal to me. And now it's actually not criminal for what you're getting and what I'm learning in the market. It's also so funny because I was an apartment locator and I would get people who wanted to find like a 1-bed, 1-bath and they wanted it for like under $1,000. And I would look at the market and like that just was not a thing. And like they would not budge. And like I'm realizing that I'm that person. Like I talk to my realtor and I'm like, oh, but I just think that we could find this and this. And it's like, bitch, you clearly have not found what you're looking for at the price you're looking for. It doesn't exist. Like it's just what it is. Dallas is so expensive now. I mean, it's relative. Obviously, I'm sure California is more expensive. New York City is insane. I'm sure Chicago, like all of the big cities, but I'm just having such a hard time. You know what I thought about? I reminisced on a car drive the other day, probably when I was so stressed and I disassociated, and I thought about my first apartment and also the house that I lived in with those girls. $300 a month. I paid $300 a month on rent, and I had no clue what was in store for me when I moved to Dallas. And obviously, I don't think North Dakota prices are like that anymore, but oh my gosh, if I was paying $300 a month in rent, now obviously my apartment, like the one that I had, my first one, I shared that with the roommate and we shared a bathroom. And of course, like there are roommates involved, but we had a full blown 4-bed, 2-bath house and I paid $325 because I had the smallest room. The other girls paid, I think one of them paid $350 and then the other two did $375 or maybe $400. I don't remember, not really that much. And I remember we were all fighting. Well, no, we drew names from a hat or like drew numbers because there were 2 huge bedrooms and everybody wanted them, which I didn't really care because I didn't have that much stuff. And honestly, it just like wasn't appealing to me. I didn't really give a fuck. I was working 24/7 and like at class or school all the time. I was never home. But anywho, let's get back to it. These townhomes, I was like, this is incredible. I tell Carter, I show him the photos and he's obsessed and he brings up these townhomes all of the time. You guys, he's like, let's just do it. He's thought about, switching jobs and he's like, if I get paid more, like, let's do it. Brenda, you've been getting the deals, like, let's do it. And I'm like, oh, it's not even like, can we afford? Because here is what they say. I am so sorry. Also, I don't shut the fuck up about money and finances. And I know some people really hate talking about it and hearing about it. And maybe it's because people are in debt and they don't want to think about it. I apologize. And honestly, I asked Carter this week if I should go to therapy for my financial like anxiety. I'm like actually really considering it because I feel like it's so unhealthy, the amount that I think about it. But it's also just like life. I'm like, no, this is what it's like when you were raised with no money. I actually had a girl comment on a video and I'm not sure if she was being sassy or not, but it was actually in response to one of my stories when I did the poll and I asked, like, if you're in a relationship, who's the spender and who's the saver? And I explained that we went couch shopping, which we'll get into here. And I said that Carter spends. Not really, like, he's not putting us in debt, but like just way more casually than I do. Like, I haven't actually bought myself anything in a really long time. Like, I so badly want to get a few pieces from like Aritzia or Reformation. I so badly want to try Reformation, but the stuff that you guys have seen, if I've posted on stories, the Amazon stuff, I had a gift card from Amazon because I was a part of that program. That has covered everything for the past like few months. All of the products I get sent to me or I've had a really long time. Honestly, it takes me so long to get through products and I'm so blessed and lucky, but like I have not purchased the Lululemon that I've had, in which that was a really long time ago now. This is like months ago, was Carter got me a gift card or Carter got me a set. And like, I really have not spent money on something for myself other than maybe an experience, but we really haven't even done that much. Anywho, I asked Carter if I should go to therapy for it. And of course he's like, no, babe, I don't think so. But it hasn't become a riff in our relationship, but like, it's just something that's so heavily on my brain. Oh, let me go back to what I was saying. This girl responded and was like, must be nice for him to be so like free with money. Like if I run out of money, like I don't have anywhere to go to. I don't have parents that have money. And like, I feel the exact same way. I have this anxiety in me because my whole life I've supported myself. And like, yes, worst case scenario, could I go home and live with my parents? Yeah. Some people don't even have that, which is heartbreaking, but like they couldn't just send me money and they wouldn't just send me money. Like they just can't. And a lot of people don't have that. Like, even though I know, which we would never ask Carter's parents for money, but it's like they have excess money. And therefore I think Carter, not that he's ever really relied on them. I mean, they paid for a school. Again, y'all, I understand like what I'm saying. Trust me, I get it just as much as everybody else does. But like in a worst case scenario, like they could help us. And again, I obviously don't think like that, which is why I'm anxious all the fucking time and I need to just chill out. But she made a comment like that and it makes perfect sense. And I agree. Like I have this anxiety because I'm like, if I run out of money, if we don't have money, like what do? We don't have a backup, or I don't have a backup. And I think that's where it stems from. Anywho, I'm not sure how we got there, but those townhomes. Coin this, pin this, right? And we'll come back to the townhomes. But Carter has brought them up pretty consistently for a long time, but I was like, no. Well, Then we look at, the other townhomes, and there's some options. And I want to break it down. Dallas, I've explained, there's the heart of the city. There's East Dallas, where they have some really nice townhomes for a better price, but it's just not as good of a neighborhood. Like maybe a little bit more unsafe. It's hard to say because any place in a city is unsafe. Oh my gosh, you guys, my Tahoe was broken into. Y'all, this week was so eventful, and like, I've been so stressed about the home situation that I totally forgot. Y'all, this was before, I believe, the townhome situation that I thought we had, that we don't have, that I'm going to get into. I go downstairs of my parking garage to jumpstart my vehicle because I was going to ship it back to my father, as I've spoken about 100 times. And I walk down there and I go down the stairs. Me and Carter never use the elevator except when I have Maydog and I take her on walks. We had two parking spaces, or we do have two parking spaces. One is like smack dab in the center. Basically, our parking garage, there's a first floor, which is open to like guests and then like retail that's around us. And then you go up this little ramp to the second floor, and the second floor is gated. You have to go behind this gate. And then that's our parking. It's just one big square. It's like the second floor of the building. And then that's like the resident parking. Well, Carter used this spot that was in the middle of the parking garage. And then my spot was over in the corner, and our unit is on the same corner. And it took us a while to realize, like, if you just pop up these stairs, then you end up there. But we're like on a high floor. I'm trying not to give too many details because it's my safety, even though we're moving out in literally 2 weeks. But there's an elevator. However, the elevator is like down the side. You have to walk along like the whole one wall. You go up the elevator, but then you're essentially, once you get to the floor, you're coming back that same walk that you just did from the car, but like to our unit, because our unit's on the same corner. Does that make sense? Well, eventually we started going up and down the stairs because it is like maybe 6 floors, but it just like the walk, I feel like you're exerting the same energy, and it's obviously quicker. Well, me and Carter eventually changed spots because I stopped using the Tahoe, and because the Carter spot was in the middle, we would walk to the stairs, and I'm like, babe, why don't I just park my Tahoe there? That way I'm not driving it. It sits in the middle, and then you can use this space because it's like quite literally next to the stairs. What did I just say? I'm not really sure. Y'all, my brain is functioning, I would say maybe at 60%. I don't want to say like 40%. That would be dramatic, but like it's definitely not all there. I was talking to somebody yesterday, and I said like the most outrageous, like the sentence was like 10 words. They were all in the wrong place. Every single word. I think it was Natalie on FaceTime, and she said, bitch, I have no idea what you just said. I said, I don't know either. Anywho, we then changed spots. So then Carter now uses my spot. They're both our spots, but it's right next to the stairs. So we just pop up, and we've been doing that for like over a year, right? Well, I never go to the Tahoe because it's in the center of the garage. I wouldn't even pass it. Like, I just don't go over there. It's really fucking dusty because it's been sitting there. It's actually so bad. I was going to post photos of the broken Tahoe, but it was so dusty that I was embarrassed. Therefore, I didn't post the photos. And this is like negligent on my part. And what I'm going to say is like, Brenna, you dumb fucking bitch. However, right? I didn't go to the Tahoe. And of course, I'm like lying to my dad. He's like, are you jump starting it? Like, you should be doing that once a month. And I'm like, yeah, no, I'm not doing that because I'm not taking it anywhere. Like, I would just be starting it. And I know I should for like the car to be working and good. I get it, but I just wasn't doing that. Like, I'm just a girl. I'm not driving it. It is what it is. Well, I walk down there, and there was a time maybe like a year ago or a few months back that we got an email from our property, and they were like, hey, some cars were broken into. And I went over there to check on it at that time because I'm like, oh, it's sitting here. It's clear that it's been sitting here because it's so dusty, but it wasn't broken into. Well, when you walk to the vehicle, so I go down the stairs and I have to walk to the center of the parking garage. And when I'm staring at the Tahoe, I'm seeing the driver's side. right? And to give you a little bit more context, the ramp comes up and then you have to take a left, and then you go down this row and then you park it. So like, I'm not sure why that's relevant. Anywho, whenever me and Carter drive past or like could remotely see it, you're only seeing the driver side is what I'm trying to say. Well, I walk up to the Tahoe, everything looks fine, it's dusty, and I go, and because my Tahoe was broken into before and stolen in a parking garage, I had to replace the ignition. And did I have to replace the key holder? Oh, I'm totally fucked up and I don't know what I'm talking about. My fob typically works. I have a clicker that unlocks and locks it. For 2002, that's pretty fucking bougie if you ask me. I need to quit swearing. However, the car is dead, obviously, and I know this, so I'm going to have to put the key into the lock and like manually unlock it. Well, I'm walking up to the car and I'm like, it looks fine, it's dusty, but I go to put the key in the lock and like it doesn't even like hit anything. And I'm like, wait, what the fuck? The circle, the key part, the latch part, the thing that I put my key in, gone. Like the little tiny circle, obviously there's like plastic and then there's like the part, it's gone. And I'm like, oh fuck. Right. I go to open it. I like try and pull the handle and it's not opening. I'm like, that's really weird. But like clearly somebody tried to break into this. I walk around to the passenger side and not only is the window gone, okay, the whole entire handle on this side is gone. Like no handle to pull, no little thing to insert my key, gone. Right? So it's just like metal, and then the window is gone. However, I don't see glass anywhere. I do not see broken glass on the ground, which tells me a few things because I reached my hand in and the glass is gone. But like there's not glass broken in the car. I did notice like on the seat on the passenger side, it looked like there were like little flexes of like, you know, when tiny glass shards, like you can kind of see it's like crystal-ish. It kind of looked like that, but it's so dark because also my car is in the center of the parking garage. The only windows or like opening to the outside is on the parameter, and I'm like smack dab in the middle and there's no lights, and therefore it's just really dark where my car is parked. And I pull out my flashlight on my phone and I'm looking, and so the window's gone, the handle's gone, the inside of the passenger door is ripped open. So like, you know, if you've never seen a car ripped open before and like been worked on, there's plastic on the inside of the door, obviously, that like you pull shut, and like there's the outside part that like you see with your eyeballs. But when you take that out, you know, there's wires and there's shit inside. Well, basically the passenger door on the inside, they ripped off the plastic part and like that's all fucked up. And like the plastic part is like sitting in my vehicle. Well, then I look at the dashboard and the plastic on the top part is gone. The speedometer is gone. There's some wires. They weren't cut, but they were like out. They took a few buttons. My dad, it's so funny because I sent my dad photos and he immediately responds and he's like, oh, it looks like they took the fog lights and they took this and they took, and I'm like, that's so fucking crazy that you can just like look at. Obviously he works in the car business and has raced cars and like worked on cars more than anybody I know, obviously, but I'm like, that is crazy that you were just like able to assess. It's similar to when I was in college and I would drive these like old beaters that he would give me. I would call him and I'd be like, Dad, my car's like making a funny sound. And he's like, what does it sound like? And I'd be like, well, it's kind of like a kerplunk, or it's like a, and I would like remake it. And he literally could tell me every single time what the issue was. I'm like, what the fuck? It's crazy. It's honestly, he should go on like America's Best Talent or like Got Talent or whatever that's called. I don't know how you prove that to people. And I'm sure it's common for any mechanic, but it's crazy. And I get it. Cars are more simple than we think. Like there's an engine, it has oil. Like really, it's pretty simple. Therefore, like if something's happening and let's say like the steering is hard to turn, it's like it can only be a handful of things. And then when you know the sounds or like the symptoms of what that would be, they're able to diagnose it. And obviously my dad also has, well, I used to have in the Tahoe a diagnose machine where you could hook it up to the engine or the battery or a few things, and then it would like diagnose, like when your service engine light would come on, you can diagnose it. Like, you take your car to an auto body shop, I'm telling you, everything that they do, you can do. When my Tahoe got stolen, I'm going to reference this a little bit, because when my Tahoe got stolen, I'm trying to remember, they put like, I think a hanger, they picked the lock on the outside of the door. Therefore, that was not broken. Okay. They just picked the lock to get it open. And then they removed the bottom part of the steering wheel and then the cap on the ignition, and they jammed a screwdriver in the ignition, and that's how they started it, because the car wasn't dead at that point. Like, my car, I had been driving, therefore it was on and good, and all they had to do was like jam a screwdriver in there to drive it, right? If that makes sense. Well, you all sitting there would be like, I would have to take that to a mechanic to get that fixed. I literally drove my Tahoe using a screwdriver off of the pound or the impound. I always confuse the two. The pound is where animals go. The impound is where cars go. I'm not sure. Maybe I am really dumb. However, I got this Hispanic man who like couldn't even speak any English to give me his screwdriver to let me drive the vehicle. And I drove it right to O'Reilly's, and I bought a new ignition and like a new key, because obviously with a new ignition, you're going to need a new key to go in there, and they come together. And I go out to my car in the O'Reilly's parking lot, and I pull up a YouTube tutorial on how to get the old ignition out and put the new one in. And it really is simple. A lot of car things are simple. It's just a little bit scary. And if you've never been exposed, obviously I'm not recommending you try and fix your car, but I'm just saying. Anywho, I go in, and this is different from when it was stolen the first time, because the bottom half of the steering wheel was stolen the last time, and the ignition was not touched in this. And I'm like, that's telling me I don't think they tried to steal it, or they tried to they tried to hotwire it, but there were also no wires broken. What I'm gathering is also the hood was like popped open a little bit. When I pull my hood button in my car, or it's like this little tab, it just lifts it a little bit, and then you have to go in there and like pop it open. You have to hit the little button on the actual hood. Well, it was cracked open, therefore I know they opened it up. So I'm like, did they steal parts? My dad gathered that they realized they couldn't steal it because it was dead as fuck, right? And I'm sure if you're literally breaking into a car and stealing it, you're not gonna like sit there and try and jumpstart it. You're probably panicked. Therefore, I'm guessing they realized that it was dead, and then they just started taking parts. My dad thinks that they must have a Tahoe, and like they literally were just taking parts for their own Tahoe or vehicle. I'm not really sure. I don't know if the Cadillac converter is gone. I couldn't really tell. My dad was trying to explain, but I just really didn't want to get on the ground and look. However, they left. I actually have a pair of, what are the wires that you use? The jumpstart cables. Those are still in there. I had Frisbee golf discs in there. They took the Tahoe manual out of my glove box, but really I didn't have anything else in there. But that was Monday, I think. And immediately, it's number one, it's so jarring. Like somebody going through your stuff, breaking into your vehicle. Like when I realized the window was broken, I was like, oh, and I kind of like backed up. Like, are they still in there? Is somebody in my car? Like, did they leave something? What's going on? Oh my gosh. You know what I also realized? And it spooked me really quickly when I first didn't know what it was. I open up the back. So I climb in to like open everything, and there's a little Ziploc baggie of like a few drugs. There were like 3 big ones and then like 4 smaller ones. I'm like, what the fuck is this? Like, am I being set up? Of course I'm going to like the scariest depths of the planet. I immediately take them and throw them away, which I don't even know if that's a good idea to begin with. But what I remembered is I had a first aid kit in there for the nanny kids when I used to watch them, and nanny boy has ADHD badly, and we would keep a few of his ADHD medications in there in the first aid kit. in case we were on our way to school and he forgot to take it, because that would be a nightmare. And also he took Zyrtec every day because he had horrible allergies, and that's what it was. Therefore, they must have taken the first aid kit, but then they took those out because they didn't realize. I'm not really sure. But for a while, I was like, oh my gosh, like these people like left drugs, or I don't know. But they were my own drugs, not my drugs, but nanny kids' drugs. Anywho, I send my dad photos and I'm like, Dad, I literally went downstairs to get this thing ready to ship it, and I sent him photos. I'm like, I'm so sorry. What do you want me to do? I'm scared to jumpstart it. I don't know if something's missing. I don't know what's out of place. Like, I am not really sure if it will even start. And he called me on his lunch break and he's like, oh my gosh, he felt bad. He was like, I literally was just about to buy bus tickets. My sweet father, I think he's afraid of planes. I think he's only been in a plane like once or twice, and it's expensive. I think my dad is more frugal than I am, but he's like, there's bus tickets down to Dallas for like $150. I was going to bus down there and then he was going to drive it back, or he was thinking about it. And I told you guys when I went home, Pam and my grandma were both trying to kind of convince him to just give me the title and like take it to a salvage lot, because it has like almost 300,000 miles on it. Of course, my dad can find a purpose for everything. He could have used the parts on the Tahoe. Like, I am feeling really, really bad that this happened. And the other part is like, I don't know when it was broken into. And the other weird thing, which it's nobody's fault but my own, like I abandoned that thing. Like, this is my fault. Not that it was broken into, because that's horrible, but like that I wasn't checking in on it and I should have taken care of it sooner. But y'all, when I went down there was nobody parked next to me. But the next time I did, there is literally a car. So I pull into my space just like a normal person. I don't back in, and I park right next to a pole on the driver's side. There's like a huge pole, and then it's always 3 parking spaces. I go down there the next time, there is a car that's parked right in the spot next to me, like literally the next spot over, only a line in between. And this car was also pulled in like mine. So to get out of the driver's side, she's right next to, or he, I don't know if it's a girl or a boy, but they have to get out of the car and they're right next to the passenger side that has a broken window and the handle is gone. And I'm like, would somebody report this? Like, it's not their job and it's not their fault, but I have no idea if this just happened 3 nights ago, or that it could have happened. Hello, sorry, my brain stuttered. Months ago, because I haven't gone and checked on it, which is my fault. But I'm like, the fact that the glass is gone, like they would have had to break the glass unless they were able to just get it out smoothly. But I don't know how you would do that. But the handle is gone. But I think they would have had to break out the window. I'm not sure, but there's not shards of glass on the ground. But somebody would have had to clean that up, and the criminals aren't going to clean that up. But if somebody from the maintenance or like the property cleaned it up, they didn't think to like speak to me or like tell me that it's broken into. I'm just really confused. And like, again, I'm not mad at anybody. It's just like, if I noticed that the person we parked next to, the car was broken into, and like, it's clear, like it's dusty. I don't know if they think it's abandoned or what, but it's like, I would tell somebody at the front desk, like, hey, this car hasn't moved. I'm not sure if they know, like it was broken into. Like, it would take 2 seconds, and I'm just confused, which makes me believe maybe it just happened. I don't really know, but that was a whirlwind. So that was Monday, right? Let's get back to the townhome situation. So now we're back to the present, and the very first townhome that we applied for, right? And also, let me tell you that we have to pay application fees, which is like not ideal. I mean, sometimes they're $60, but you have to do 2. So that's like $120 for the both of us. 75, it's like $150. Anywho, I'm trying not to think about it. The first townhome, I don't know if I explained this. Apparently somebody got it before us. I don't really understand how. Oh my gosh, you guys, I feel like I'm getting dizzy. What the frick is going on? I really need sleep. And I have good news. I'm staying with the nanny fam tonight because the parents are leaving and I won't have Maydog. And I'm hoping that I sleep through the goddamn night. Anywho, okay, I don't know why. I just felt like I was getting dizzy. But we didn't get that one. And this townhome was a hefty price, but I've come to terms that for the area and the location and what we want, there is a certain price that we're gonna have to pay, and I've accepted it. But I do have a threshold. Like, there's a number that I just really do not want to go over. I'm like, nope, this is my cap. Right? I'm sure you guys could guess what that is, but like, again, I don't want to be annoying and like, poor me. It's like amazing that we can even pay these prices, but like, you know what I mean. Well, when we got approved, like the application was good. Obviously our income, our verification, like our credit score, everything's amazing. There's no reason we shouldn't be able to get a place, right? But somebody got it before us. They emailed us back and they said, yes, but you don't get this. However, we have another unit on the same property because they're townhomes, so there are multiple. This one's coming on the market, but it's more expensive. It was like $300 more, and this was like breaking my threshold. And I'm like, fuck no, for the exact same thing, except it's a corner unit, therefore it has a few more windows. I'm like, no, I don't want to do that. And Carter's like, let's do it. I'm like, oh. Did he say that at the time? I'm not really sure. I think he was like not opposed to it. Again, he's quicker to like spend more money. I'm like, we can find something else. And there was a townhome down the street in the opposite direction. It was a little bit older, but it was bigger. And I was really excited about it. I've walked past these townhomes all of the time. It was a hair less than the one we had just applied for. Not the second price, but the first one. I'm like, it's a little bit less, but it's because it's a little bit older and yeah. And I'm like, let's do it. I go and tour with our realtor on last like Wednesday. I love it. It's 2 bedrooms and a true office. It has a huge rooftop. It has like these quirky little weird things about it. Some of the paint is weird and the finishes, but not the end of the world, right? It's big. It has the rooms. Amazing. I'm like, let's do it. I take Carter the next day and we had to call the leasing agents because they wouldn't let us in because they say you need a realtor. And so whatever, but we finally get in. Carter sees it. He's like, cool, whatever. The price is great. The location is great. Let's do it. We apply on Thursday night. And obviously you need to do the bank statements and whatever, which I had this all going because I just did the last one. Well, we get that through. And then I'm there Friday morning with my management because they have to verify again, because the last townhome, and this is where the anxiety set in. When we were in Montana, the property managers for the first one were contacting us and calling and emailing saying that our current property hadn't approved, like they needed approval to hear back from them that we live here and that we're good tenants, like it's part of the rental verification. But our fucking current apartments, they're closed on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Why would you not have somebody in the leasing office? I cannot even understand it. And of course we've had our issues. So like I'm already at wit's end, but they were contacting us. Like, let's say we applied on, I think it was a Monday. Tuesday, they were like, we need to hear back. Like, we need to hear back in 24 hours. And I'm like, the place is closed. Nobody's in there. Like, we have to wait. So Carter called first thing Wednesday morning, but then that was 4th of July week. So I knew they were going to be closed on Friday and like nobody was answering. And I'm like, oh my gosh, which is like, I think we could have maybe gotten the townhome if our fucking apartment complex had answered, right? Like we had to wait a whole extra day or 2 days. I don't know if it was like over the weekend and then Monday night and we were, I don't remember, but like, so I went down Friday morning and I was like trying to quickly do this because I'm like, I don't want somebody else to get this. Like we're paying the fees. I really want this. Like I want to get this taken care of. And I go Friday morning, I like hassle this guy. I'm like, can you please answer? Like, I just need to know that you're answering. He answers. It takes a while, whatever. We hear back and then they got that. They had to process everything. And then Saturday afternoon, we hear that we were approved and we're like so excited. We go couch shopping, which I'm not even going to dive into because I'm already going to be talking for so long. Well, maybe I'll get into it. But now that we know we got it, I'm like, amazing. Well, Saturday with the approval, they send like, okay, put down your deposit to confirm. It's like you have 48 hours. And I'm like, okay, it's Saturday night. I'm like, should I text my realtor? But like at this point, we don't need her. Like we got approved. I'll tell her on Monday, but I didn't want to bother her. It's the weekend. She was out of town. I'm like, whatever. We didn't do it then, but then Sunday they sent a reminder. It's like, hey, you have 24 hours to secure it. And of course, I'm anxious because we didn't get the first one. And when I pulled up the payment, it said to do the deposit. It said to do the first month's rent, which we're moving in like 2 weeks. So I'm like, typically you wouldn't have to pay that right away. But I'm like, every single property management is different, especially with these private rentals. You also have an admin fee. It also had the pet fees. And this all in all came out to like $7,000 and something. Right, because it was 2 months rent, it was the pet fees, the admin fee, the pet rent for the first month. And I'm like, whatever, like, let's just secure this because I'm scared. I don't want to miss out. Like, there's no way we can miss out on this. Like, we need to get it taken care of. Right. We process the payment, or I pay it on Sunday night, and we're excited and we're good. Well, here is the thing. Recently, and maybe I shouldn't state this on the record, I was like trying to see if I could get May as like a what. That way we don't have to pay the pet fees, because this is what people do. They abuse the system. You can get the piece of paper. That way you don't have to pay. And I was like working on that, and I was like trying to do that, but I still paid the pet thing right away. But I was like, oh, by the way, we have this letter, so on and so forth. Well, Monday rolls around and we hadn't heard back. It said on the page, like, it needs to process the payment, which on Monday I realized it left my account, but obviously payments take a while, whatever. But I was like, also, they asked me because there was like a rent concession. It was like you get $500 off if you move in by a certain day, but we weren't moving in by that certain day. But when I did the payment, it had factored that in. So it did have $500 off of the first month's rent. They sent me a text on Monday and it was like, hey, like, we realized that the system said this, even though you're not moving until August 2nd. We are going to have to send a separate invoice for like $500. I'm like, of course, but hello. I was like, we're trying to get these pet fees reimbursed because I have this letter, and that was like $350. And I was like, there's going to be a difference of $150. I sent this in an email back to them. Well, they don't answer Monday, which, like, again, it's like not abnormal, but then Tuesday rolls around in the afternoon and I hadn't heard. It said the process was still like processing, or the payment was still processing. And I text Melissa, and I'd spoken to her on Monday, our realtor, and I said that we got approved, we put down the deposit, so on and so forth. She's like, amazing. She had contacted them, whatever. And this one in specific is not run by an agent. It's like by this like certain small rental company. It's who we've been contacting and who everything is through. Well, Tuesday night, I'm like, I haven't heard back. Like, it says the payment is still processing. When should we expect the lease? Because you put down the deposit and then they still need to send the lease to sign and everything. Like, we haven't signed the lease. She calls me Tuesday night, and Carter had a big day on Wednesday. He has like this big thing that he's working on. I'm not going to get into the logistics because it's his work and I can't speak on it, but he's been high stress about this thing, and it was Wednesday afternoon. And therefore, I'm trying to just like lay low and take care of everything. Like, I don't want to add extra stress to him, but like, obviously he's curious about what's going on. Well, Melissa calls me Tuesday night and she's like, I don't want to freak you out, but like, I just called them and they're kind of giving me the runaround. Like, they're waiting on the payment, but they won't give me an answer about the pet stuff. And like, I'm not really sure. And she asked me more questions and she's like, it's kind of weird that they asked for the first month's rent. And I'm like, oh, well, I don't know what this like private rental space is like. I just wanted to put down the deposit. We have the money. It is what it is. And she's like, I don't want to freak you out, but can you maybe call your bank and dispute that until like we hear from them and confirm these like other, little concessions and things, and they can still do the lease. Like, they can create the lease. And I'm like, oh my gosh. Well, then I'm like starting to panic. I'm like, are we getting scammed? Like, what's going on? It's clear that it's a rental property, or like it's a management company. We spoke to them when we got the keys to do the lease, or like to go do the tour. I'm sorry. When we went there and she had contacted them, like, it's clear that they own this property. They have a sign out front. Like, it's not a scam, but I think really, and here's where I also went wrong. I started Googling and there's like horrible reviews, which, let me say, every property management like has horrible reviews. Obviously some are better than others, but this is a tiny one. So they don't have a lot of properties. And when you go online and all you see are negative reviews, which I should have looked this up prior and now I feel like a dumbass, but I was just so nervous about not getting it because we just lost the one before when like we shouldn't have. And like, I'm annoyed with myself. I'm stressed. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? Like, are we being scammed? Is this a scam? But I'm like, how? They own this property. Like, I don't think it's a scam. I just think it's a very poorly run company. Like, why can we not get in contact with somebody that can like give us answers? Like, they kind of just go around and around. And I'm like, what the fuck is going on? I call Wells Fargo to dispute this claim or dispute this transaction, which I've never done anything like this. I'm like, what does this even mean? They say it's going to take 10 days to go over it because basically they contact, where the money went to see if they can get it back and so on and so forth. And I'm like, what the fuck? Like, this is over $7,000. I'm panicking. I'm seeing now all these negative reviews. We also now don't really have a townhome. Like, Melissa was like, well, you can still move in. Like, I just think it's like best to just like, let's do it this way. But she was like, also, these are the people that you're going to have to deal with if you move in. And I'm like, what the fuck? And I'm like, no, it's already soured. Like, now I'm scared. Now I've seen horrible reviews. I'm like, what the fuck? So number one, they have over $7,000 of my money. I'm now not moving in and we need to move in less than 3 weeks. I'm like, what the fuck? This is literally, you guys, Tuesday night. Carter hears me talk to Melissa on the phone, but he's like prepping for this thing and he's like, what's going on? I'm like, nothing, like I'm getting it taken care of. He's like, no, well, what's going on? And obviously I tell him and then he's stressing and I'm like, oh, I didn't want to stress you out. Like, oh, it'll all work out. It's fine. I just need to make sure. And then I woke up the next day. I went on my run and I immediately start calling them. I already disputed it with the bank. They're giving me the runaround. I like can't speak to the leasing people. I'm like, what is going on? Why can I not speak to them? I'm like, I need a refund immediately. I wasn't sure if I should tell them that I disputed it, if that would be like problematic, but I'm like, there's no way they can just keep this money, right? Like, it's a security deposit. We haven't signed the lease. They can't just keep it. But like the way that they're being so weird, I'm just like, what the fuck is going on? I finally email back and forth with somebody. I don't know who I'm emailing. And I'm like, please issue the refund. And they're like, we have not received the funds and therefore we can't do a refund, which I'm like, if you're a property management, like, oh my gosh, whatever. I'm like, okay, can you please confirm that once you get the funds, you will refund it? Like, I understand you don't have them now or what you're saying, even though it processed on my end on Monday. Obviously, it still takes days, whatever. Please confirm. And they were like, yes, we will refund. And they actually told me to dispute it with the bank. They were like, the quickest way is probably to dispute it. But I'm like, why are you? I'm just like, oh, it's fine. I just like want to know I'm getting the money back. I'm like, we're not going forward with the lease. And they were like, why? Or they asked because essentially we're going to move in. Like, and Carter crafted up this message. He's like, we just don't feel confident with like the lack of communication with what's going on, like this back and forth and not being able to get a hold of somebody. And finally they answered back and they were like, yes, we will issue a refund when we get the money. I'm like, amazing. And I need to keep following up. And I still haven't heard from Wells Fargo. It's only been like 2 days. That was Tuesday night. It's Thursday morning. But I'm like, oh my gosh, because number one, I need to figure out where we're going to live and I need money to put down a deposit on another place. And I'm like, ah! So that's the update. I have no idea what's going on. That happened Tuesday night. I ended up sleeping on the couch because I couldn't sleep because not only did I lose this money and I don't have it right now and that's stressing me out, I need to figure out where we're living. I go and tour more with Melissa yesterday. Everything's the same. The price point fucking sucks. This is why I brought up those townhomes from the beginning. I go on when I couldn't sleep Tuesday night and it's like 11 a.m. or 11 p.m. and I pull up the website and it says at early July, they were doing a 1 month free special for those townhomes that were egregiously priced. Egregiously. I'm sorry, I'm illiterate. And with the 1 month free, the townhomes at their price are high, but now like the first townhome, not the bougie 3-bedroom ones, but like the one we applied for and didn't get the first time, The price of the second one is like now in this range, and I'm realizing this is the range that we're in for what we want. But the really nice ones that I toured a long time ago with 1 month free, it brings them just below the price of the townhome that we didn't get, but like the second one, the corner unit, when I was like, it's too pricey. Because obviously when this all went down with the second townhome that we applied for, Carter was like, tell them we'll take that corner unit. Like, let's do it. And I'm like, oh, the price. I'm like, oh. But like at this point, we have no other options and we need to figure it out. Well, I actually speak to Melissa and she's like, they actually have an app in for it and the people don't move out until July 31st. And they're saying it's too quick of a turnaround. Like they need to go in and clean it and they don't know like what kind of like state it's going to be in, you know, if they're going to have to do repairs. And I'm like, oh my gosh. Well, Tuesday night, I see that the really bougie ones, because now we're only a few $100s off of that. So I'm like, what the fuck is the difference? But they're doing 1 month's free. Oh, you guys, I'm sorry. My brain. 1 month free, which brings it below this one that Carter wants to get, this one that's available, the corner unit of the first townhome that we applied for. And I'm like, oh my gosh, he would not stop talking about it. I'm like, let's do it. It has 3 bedrooms. It's huge. It has a yard. It's not in the city, but like, I don't care. I'm the one who like complained about being in the city. Carter loved these. Let's do it. So I wake up Wednesday, and Wednesday is when he had his big work thing. And I didn't want to bring it up because I didn't want to stress him, but I was like going to tell him like, let's apply for the townhomes that you love. And I walk into the bedroom and I'm like, babe, let's apply for these. And I shit you not. He goes, but it's not in the city. Like you really want to be. And I'm like, babe, no. You spoke about these things for weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks. And now I tell you, let's do it. And you're like, but let's be in the city. Oh my gosh. Me and Carter just like cannot see eye to eye on this, like what we want and the price. And it's like my fault. Like if I just would have shut the fuck up and like went with the price, like this would have been way more easy from the get-go. I was just being so frugal. And like now we're in this position where like he's like, let's be in the city because you want to be in the city. I'm like, oh my gosh. And then this conversation ends because I didn't want to like get into a fight. He has this work thing. He had a long day before the work thing. Like I was trying to be good. And he's like, babe, you just decide. And I'm like, I just told you, let's do it. I literally was like so unwell. So yesterday I go and tour more townhomes or houses or apartments with Melissa, and they're all the fucking same and they're all old and they're all expensive. And I'm like, this is the best option. Again, last night I could not sleep. I couldn't. I took magnesium. I was honestly exhausted because I got shit sleep the night before, but all of a sudden we shut off the light and I'm like, babe, I'm like wide awake now. And like, I'm restless and I'm stressing. And I go back on to the website and I see 1 month free. And I'm like, he told me to take care of it. I'm going to do it. Therefore, this morning, I reached out to the girl who gave me the tour and is the property management at the bougie fucking townhomes, the original ones. And I sent her a message and I said, hey, I noticed that you were doing 1 month free at the beginning of July. If you are still doing that, we will put in an application today and let's take care of it because you guys, we're moving like not next Friday, but the Friday after, like literally 2 weeks from tomorrow. We want to move August 1st to give ourselves, we have to be out of here August 4th. I just want to make sure we have time. And therefore, also, if they need to confirm with our goddamn leasing office, they're only open on Friday and I need to get it in today. That way, if they reach out, I can hassle them tomorrow because if not, I have to wait till Monday and I just need to get this taken care of. Fingers crossed. She hasn't answered. It's 9:15. I also am going to put Melissa on her. I'm like, please run the special because if they're not, like, I just don't think I can do that price. But at this point, and this is the worst position to be in, I'm so desperate to just figure it out. I also went and toured this other townhome on East Dallas or in East Dallas, which is like not a great area. And Carter really doesn't want to live over there, but they're nicer. And I'm like, I just like literally, I cannot keep doing this. I'm losing my mind. I just want to put in these applications, get it, secure it, and be done with it. And I will eat the cost, and it is what it is. And it's amazing. And I'm actually, you guys, I know I'm negative because the money is like so big in my brain. They're beautiful. They're brand new, 3 bedrooms, over 2,000 square feet, a yard for Maydog. It's like literally incredible. I'm so excited. The only thing that's not what I wanted is it's outside of the city, but like you're gonna have to give up something. You're gonna. I'm sorry. If I don't edit this, and which I never fucking do, you're gonna hear all my mishaps. I digress. It is what it is. It's in a great neighborhood. It's like perfection. Honestly, I lived over in this area before when Maydog and I lived in that mansion. It's like literally not even a half a mile away. I'm like, I love this area. There are restaurants, there are workout places, there are coffee shops. We're good. It's just not directly in the city. I'm doing it. I like need her to answer me. That way I can get in these applications. I don't care how much it is. I'm so over it. I need to also stay on this other property management company. And that's that. Y'all, I had another story for you, but I just took up the whole hour talking about that. Let me make this short and sweet, but I also have a question, but I don't know if I'm going to get to the question. Oh, I need to get shit done because I need to Uber over to the nanny fam's house. I'm staying with the nanny kids. I kind of explained this. Nanny parents are actually going with my very good friend Garrett's parents to Napa because they have a home there and they own these vineyards and they're just going on a little trip on the private jet. So they're leaving this morning right now. They just left at 9 a.m. and they are going tonight, tomorrow night, and then they just come back Saturday afternoon. When you have a private jet, you really just like get to do whatever the fuck you want, which is so crazy. But I'm so excited for them. But the kids, you know, they're 15 and like 12 now. They're old enough to like stay by themselves, obviously, you know, at the house, but like to be alone at night, like obviously it's scary and they want me there. I'm not really like, well, they called me yesterday and they were like, what are we going to do? We want to go play pickleball, but I think Nanny Boy has some baseball games and therefore his friend's going to take him. I'm going to take him to batting practice for like an hour this afternoon. I'm going to have the Tesla, obviously, that I used to drive, Nanny Mom's car. She left the key and then the credit card, and they called me when they were all in the car, and actually Nanny Boy has his permit, so he was driving. I'm like, you're not fucking driving with me. Absolutely not. And Nanny Girl was in the back seat, and I'm going to bring her a bunch of makeup and skincare, which she'll love, and we're going to hang. So tonight, I'm sure we'll order food in and we'll hang out and watch movies, and then me and Nanny Girl will figure out something to do. Tomorrow we'll wake up. I think again, Nanny Boy will leave midday. He has a baseball game. Nanny Girl, I'm not sure if she has anything going on. Me and Carter, you guys, this is like the most wholesome, precious thing that you've ever heard. His friend at his firm, the associate that he's become really close with, his family is coming to town and he wants them to meet us. And therefore he invited us to dinner on Friday night to like meet his family. Is that not the most fresh thing you've ever heard? I told Melissa yesterday, I was like, we're going to this restaurant because it's like a nice restaurant in Oak Lawn or on Oak Lawn. And she was like, oh my gosh, that's like the cutest thing I've ever heard. Like when you meet your friend's family, and he's like a newer friend, like Carter just met him when he started. I guess it's almost been a year now, but like they've only recently kind of gotten close like this year. But that is at 8 p.m. on Friday. I'm going to leave the kids. I'll just drive down and then come back up. I'll make sure they're fed. I hope that's okay. I didn't okay with them, but like they're old enough to stay at home, and I'll be back by like 10 p.m. I'll make sure I get out of there, but that's going on. I had an influencer story, and I think it's just going to have to wait until next week because I don't have the energy right now to give you my all. I went to the JS Health event, which JS Health is incredible. I'm taking all of their vitamins now because obviously they gifted them to us. They have a bloat and detox one. They have a deep sleep, which is the magnesium I've been taking. They have hair. They have a probiotic. They have everything. They actually have a scalp syrup. Hello, did I say syrup? Serum. She is from Australia, the founder, and they source everything out of Australia, and therefore they're able to get like higher doses. She was actually a nutritionist before, and then she went into private practice, and she was like recommending supplements to people and like really had a passion for it. And she's like, I'm gonna make my own. And like, for example, most magnesium pills that you get in the US, it's like 100 milligrams or maybe 200. This is a 400 milligrams. It's a powder, and 400 they say is like the cap of what you should take, but it's also like it's not harmful to you, and you should be taking that like for a good sleep. Anyways, she honestly spoke at the dinner for so long, but y'all, I met this girl, Kansas, who's going to become one of my very best friends. She's a single mom. She's from Houston. She is the cutest thing I've ever seen. She's like, oh my gosh, she's got Botox and veneers and the whole thing. Like, she's an influencer gal, but she's like so humble and down to earth. And she comes from a background similar to mine. She was raised by her dad, no money. Like, she just responded to my story yesterday and was like, I used to drive an old Tahoe that was blue and I called her Blueberry, and I cried when I had to sell her because hers was so old. Like, we have all of these like similar things. And she recognized me when we walked in. We were the first two there, and we said hello and we took photos. And then I was talking to somebody else, and she came up to me again and she was like, wait, are you the girl that makes those videos? And I'm like, yes. I get the same thing every time for people. And she had gone through a divorce like 2 years ago, and it's actually really sad. He wanted nothing to do with girls. He went literally insane. And she talks about this on her profile, therefore I feel good about talking about it. He went insane, like actually manic, and was institutionalized. And then he signed away all of his rights. So not only, she's like a single mom, he has not seen them in a year and he wants nothing to do with them. Crazy. It is actually insane. However, we almost got in a fight at this dinner. There was an influencer bitch. Oh! I had never met her before, but she's one of these Dallas like OG blogger, mom, Amazon girls who is just a more traditional, like old school kind of influencer, but clearly, and there are these women in Dallas. She's friends with all of the other older Dallas women. They are only known in Dallas. Like, that's their thing. They're like known in Dallas. They do the Amazon things. They like exploit the fuck out of their children. And that's just like a niche in Dallas. And they all come from money because obviously, and they all like, whatever. The founder comes over. And she's like, I've heard that like Dallas is kind of like a really cliquey, like the influencer space, like people aren't that supportive. And I shit you not, before this, Kansas was telling me she was so nervous to come. She drove from Austin. She's not from Dallas. She literally drove all the way from Austin, and she's been to a few in Dallas. And she was telling me prior to this how she's had really bad experiences. And like, Dallas as a city is really snooty and bougie and cliquey and annoying. And then the influencer space in general, the girls, some can tend to be snooty and cliquey and like think that they're better than you, and the follower accounts. I've explained this to you guys. Like, you can tell when somebody like only gives a shit if you have followers, and you can also tell when somebody comes from money or they're more self-made and like come from humble beginnings, right? And just in general, like, these are easy things to say, but like Dallas specific, it's like yes, like that is like the most unshocking statement when the founder, she's sitting there across from me. I'm already kind of getting into the story. So basically, I'm seated next to Kansas, and we're kind of like in the middle of the table. There are some girls who I realized like after the fact, I think they were Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders. There was like 4 of them off to themselves. And this is what I'm saying. Like, when people create friends in these spaces, they kind of just stick to themselves, and there are just these groups, which is just like a natural thing. But the girl who was like, and immediately I was getting bad vibes. Immediately I could tell she wasn't genuine. It was like she tries to be, and like, oh, like when the founder was speaking, she would like giggle and like make little noise, and like it just like felt inauthentic. And I feel like I have a really good judge of that. And maybe I'm just a fucking bitch and like I'm just judging her. But there was, this is a prime example. And this is exactly what I'm talking about. Kansas was talking about her content and this and that, and you know, all the opportunities she's had. Like, it was just like organically happening in the conversation. And this girl was across from us, and she had a friend with her at first, but then the friend just had a baby and needed to pump, so she left. But that girl was across from me, and then the girl was next to her on my right, whereas like Kansas was to my left. So anywho, it doesn't matter. She was talking about something, and immediately the one girl that we're not friends with was like, oh, let me follow you. Like the second it got brought up that like she's doing well or whatever, she put her phone, and she has to like reach across me to do this. And just like a normal thing in that instance, like, you know, I'm also an influencer here. I know you don't recognize me or like know who I am because I'm not in your niche, but like you would ask. I hate it. And I've explained this to you guys before. It's so weird when it's like not authentic, but it's like you're literally handing the phone across from me. Like a normal thing to say would be like, also you like put your name in there too. That did not happen. Okay. And like, I didn't give a fuck in that moment. Right? Like, I don't care. It was odd. It's like, we're all here. I'm in this conversation. I'm talking, but like, it was only to Kansas, but it was like, she definitely just wanted to like see the follower account and size her up. Kansas gives the phone back. 20 minutes later, I shit you not, the founder sits down. Right. And she just like asked, she was like, do you guys get recognized? Like, does that happen to you guys? And some girls were like, no, like, you know, their moms, they're like out in the burbs, I'm sure, like whatever. But I'm on the Katy Trail every day. And like my demo is young girls. Like I would say every other day, to be safe, somebody's like, oh my gosh, love your TikToks, or like, oh my gosh, going through a breakup. Like it happens all the time. It happened at the smoothie shop. It happens in my own building. Like it does happen. And I'm not saying, like, she genuinely asked. So I'm like, yeah, I feel like I just am in this demo. And also my videos are very shareable to girls. Like I also always hear like, me and my best friend share your videos. Like that just happens to me. And therefore I said yes. Tell me why the second I said that bitch has her phone in my face. Oh, let me follow you. When 20 minutes ago she did the same. And I'm like, it was just weird. Like immediately weird vibes. I'm like, ew, like you only care now because I said I get recognized and you want to see like if you have more followers or like how many or like, I don't know. But like, again, in a different circumstance, maybe to somebody, but like the vibes were already weird. And like, there were other things that just kind of like, in my head, like little sirens were going off. I was just like not getting good vibes. Like she was just very. And here's the other thing, which will play into what I was going to say. She went to a university here in Texas that is known to be expensive as fuck, right? Which immediately tells me comes from money. There are obviously people who go to these schools and they have scholarships, or maybe they just like pay for it themselves. Of course, that is a thing, right? Of course, I can tell when that is this person or that's not this person. Like she also was in the spotlight, the national spotlight for a while, from, of course, she said, like, I'm not going to say what she was on or what she was in, but like, you can just tell. Well, the founder, this is what I was saying. She comes, she sits down, and she was like, I heard this week, I had some meetings with some Dallas girls, and like the consensus was like Dallas is kind of like a cliquey, you know, like not really supportive, you know, group. And of course, me and Kansas are like, yeah, like immediately, like that is the most unshocking statement I've ever heard in my life. Like Kansas just told me like multiple experiences she's had. There's literally a girl at this dinner, okay, who was the girl at the Steve Madden event who came up to the table and said hi to everybody. And then the second that I said hello, she didn't recognize me, so she didn't even answer. I'm like, there's literally a fucking girl right here, but I obviously didn't say that. I'm like, but that was my very first event. And like people, I could tell immediately, like if they didn't recognize you, they didn't give a shit. Okay. And like, I think this is the influencer space in general, but like Dallas, again, it's bougie. And then we're in this space. Like, again, the most unshocking, true statement I've ever heard. When I tell you that the girl across from us, the one that I'm getting bad vibes from, she's like, what? She's like, no, I wouldn't say that. Like, no, I think that's so off base. And I'm like, what? Like me and Kansas immediately are like, what the fuck are you talking about? Of course, you know, and now looking back, I'm like, you're the one in it. You are one of the fucking weird, mean, cliquey bitches. But I like, oh my gosh. And like, it went on, you guys, like Kansas immediately, and she's like loud and she says it like it is. She immediately like trauma dumped on me, which was amazing, but like, she'll say what's on her mind. So she's like, what? She's like, I have had experiences. And she started talking about how the very first Dallas influencer event she went to, literally they went to this like bougie restaurant and she got kids menu spaghetti because she didn't understand, like it was such a bougie place. She like didn't even know what the food was. And immediately when they got it, she started eating and somebody literally looked at her like with disgust and was like, phone eats first. Like, again, this is like the kind of people we're dealing with. And Kansas said that. And this girl, she's like, did that happen to you personally? And Kansas is like, yes. And this girl like would not give up. And she was like, that just must be the people that you're hanging. Like, I think it's who you surround yourself with. It's like, no, fuck, bitch. Like, we have good friends. Like, I surround myself with good people, but like, this is not a crazy statement to say that Dallas is, I'm like, and she would not let up. And I wasn't really saying anything, but Kansas was like going in. She's like, what? Like, and again, not being mean, but just being like, yes, it is. Like, this is like the most true statement I've ever heard in my life. And it's like, you don't even have to like, of course, if you, it was just like when somebody like refuses to even give an inch, it was like, even if I never had a personal bad experience, which I have, it would like not be that crazy to like know that Dallas is that way and like to see it with your own eyes, even if you're in the clique yourself or one of the cliques. Like, this isn't a shocking statement. Right. But she would not. And she just would like shrug and like raise her eyebrows. Like, I don't know. I've just never had that experience. And I literally look at Kansas and I'm like, what the fuck are we talking about? And like, it was like a whole thing for like 20 minutes of her just like not, and like Kansas giving like literal examples. And I'm like, I literally did say something. I'm like, well, yeah, you went to TCU. I'm like, of course you don't think this is like a snooty place. Like, you literally went to TCU. You spent $80,000 a semester. Like, of course you're not like understanding. And she like did not, like, oh my God. I literally could not. I immediately, and this is like kind of mean girl of me, but like, number one, when she gave me her phone to like follow each other and like do that whole thing, the second I pulled up her phone, the first 9 grid posts, her child, her infant baby who like has some sort of disorder, like literally just the child. And like, I cannot stand child exploitation. So like that, I just hate that in general. But like after this, I'm like, this girl is like such bad vibes. And I just like was so like bothered by it. Was just like so baffling. I just went on and I unfollowed. And like, I hate following people that I don't genuinely like anyways, because when I pull up my phone, I only follow so many people. Like, I want to see the people that I enjoy. I've explained this before. I'm like, this girl, like, I don't want to see her stuff. And like, just because we're in the same space, like in general, not only this girl, but everybody, like, I don't have to follow you. It's like coworkers, it's like acquaintances. It's like, yeah, we might know each other, we might see each other, but like, we don't need to follow each other on social media. Like, I'm supporting you. I hope you're doing great, but like, I just don't need to, right? Like, I don't know. And I'm sure Kansas didn't, and she's better than I am, but like, it was so shocking. And then we didn't even finish the conversation, but the founder was sitting across from us next to the girl, and the girl literally like fully turned her whole body to talk to the founder and like engulfed her in a conversation and just shut us out. And I'm just like, what the fuck just, it was like so bizarre. And then of course when she leaves, she's like, so great to meet you. And it's like, she literally, it wasn't like a fight, but it was clear that like Kansas was like worked up, and it was like an argument of sorts, and like Kansas was giving this experience, and she literally would not even for a second even validate Kansas. Like when she was like, this happened, like when she was like, did that happen to you personally? And Kansas was like, yes. She like didn't even say like, oh sorry that happened. Like she just kind of was like, oh, like, what the fuck is wrong with you? But then at the end, she's like, so nice to meet you guys. Like, can't wait to support each other online. I'm like, shut the fuck up. There is nothing I hate more than a fake bitch. I'm sorry. I'm like so heated. I came home to Carter, and y'all, I was there so late. I was there until like 10. It was from 6 to 8. I was like one of the last ones. I love this Kansas girl. I'm going to go see her in Austin. We've been audio messaging and catching up. She's telling me about her dating life. But I came home and like, I literally, because I had filmed the podcast that day, it was Thursday, but obviously this was night and it was like already being posted. I so badly wanted to whip out my camera then and tell the story because I was like so hot. I came home to Carter. I'm like, you will not believe. I I'm just like, it's like kind of dealing with a know-it-all. It's like as if she was a know-it-all, but it was like, you're just like straight up wrong. And like the fact that you won't even if I felt that, even if I was like, I've never had a bad experience, I'd be like, oh, I understand like why you would think that, or why. She would not. And I'm just like, oh my God, you are exactly. And it was so frustrating because also like, and the founder, she was like, I really tried. Like, I think most of the people there had worked with JS Health, and I'm sure this girl makes her a fuck ton of money because she's a mommy blogger and they just shill out products. Like, I get it, but I'm just like, oh, so bad vibes. And I'm already like regretting the next time I have to see her. I'm making it way more dramatic. Like, it's going to be fine. And like, it is what it is. But I was so hot because I was just like, oh my gosh, you just want to shake her. I'm like, please for 1 second, just like pretend like you agree. Just pretend. Even though this is like the most true statement ever. Like, there is nobody you could ask. Like, do you think Dallas is like kind of snooty and like, you know, cliquey and whatever? And it's like, yeah, especially the influencer. Like, it's not uncommon. Like, the influencer scene itself, I'm just like, oh. Anywho, you guys, I'm not going to get to the question. I need to wrap it up here. Thank you guys so much for listening. I will get to the questions next week. So if you have a dilemma going on, I am so sorry. I think your name's Cammie. I will get it to you next week. Message me on Instagram if it's like ASAP. I'll go through it and I can give you my thoughts, but then we'll go through it next week. I apologize. I just have to get out of here, but thank you guys so much for listening. I hope you have the best weekend. Fingers crossed for me. You guys pray, give me your best wishes that I get this application in and we can get this home and I can just secure it. But thanks for listening to my crazy life. We'll see you on Monday. Okay. Bye, guys.